Today we will be talking about the branches of the U.S. government. This project is done by Cassidy Peterson, Morgan Robinson, and Tom Riddle. We will first be talking about the executive branch. The executive branch is composed of the president, vice president, and cabinet members. Those who are a part of the executive branch serve for 4 years up until election, but can be re-elected for another 4 years. We will now talk about their responsibilities. The executive branch of our government is in charge of making sure that the laws of the United States are obeyed. They can also veto bills passed in Congress and call Congress into special session. Some additional responsibilities would be that they can appoint federal posts such as members of government agencies, and they appoint federal judges. The executive branch can grant pardons or forgiveness for crime, and they can also negotiate foreign treaties with other countries. In conclusion, the executive branch can veto bills passed in Congress, call Congress into special session, and make treaties with other countries with Senate approval, but they can't make laws, declare war, or decide how federal money will be spent.
Now we'll be talking about the judicial branch. The judicial branch is made up of the Supreme Court as well as all other courts down to local town courts. Justices usually serve for lifetime appointments and are appointed by the President and approved by the Senate. So you may be wondering, what does the judicial branch do? The judicial branch interprets the law, applies the law to real life, and determines whether a law is constitutional. The Supreme Court's decisions are particularly important as they can only be overturned by another Supreme Court case or else by amending the Constitution. Here's some added background on our most powerful court, the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court started with 6 judges, a Chief Justice, and 5 Associate Judges. Nowadays the number is 9, and it can be increased through input from Congress. The Supreme Court is most known for ruling on major issues of equality such as Brown v. Board of Education, which overturned school segregation, and Roe v. Wade, which established abortion as a right. To conclude, the responsibilities of the judicial branch are to interpret the law, apply the law to real life, and determine whether or not a law is constitutional. Judicial appointments are chosen by the President and approved by the Senate. There are no term limits for judges, and their appointments are lifelong, meaning nominations are critical for future generations.
Finally, let's talk about the legislative branch. The legislative branch is important because it has the power to make laws. There are 2 separate branches within the legislative branch, and they are the Senate and the House of Representatives. Let's start by discussing the Senate. The Senate is made up of 100 representatives, 2 from each state. They are supposed to have an even number of representatives so that all states have an equal say when creating the laws. Next, let's talk about the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives has a proportionate amount of representatives that coincides with the state's population. This was done so that states who have a larger population have a stronger representation within Congress. Now, you might be wondering, why is this important? And this is important because when the Founding Fathers were creating the government structure, they wanted to have the ability to fairly represent their constituents while simultaneously upholding a system of checks and balances. In conclusion, through the system of checks and balances and our bicameral legislature, Congress is able to make laws that are just and reflect what the citizens of the United States want. Overall, the federal government was created with 3 different branches of government that have the ability to check and balance each other out so that not a single branch within the government can overstep their boundary of power.